to the Wrestling Merchandise and Memories podcast, brought to you by CanadianBulldogsWorld.com, your official home for wrestling merchandise, memories, and a wrestling scrapbook of sorts that I probably am not describing properly. In case you're wondering, whose voice is this? This is not the Canadian Bulldog, no. This is the quarantine edition where Stu Stone gets to sit in the driver's seat and drive the car, but not just any car. We're taking a bus today, folks. A virtual bus loaded with 4 passengers that are going to take you on a ride, a deep dive journey with your host, the Canadian Bulldog. Canadian Bulldog, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Stu. Thanks so much for putting this together. It's a pandemic. It's the wild, wild west. So we're really excited to not only have you and me talking about wrestling and merchandise and memories this time around. We've got 2 very special guests who I'd like to introduce at this time. First, you've heard him before here on the podcast. He's back again. He is the one and only, the big Rybowski. Rybowski, how you doing?
I'm doing awesome. In quarantine, thankful for the invite back on the show. Excited to talk to you guys. If there's 4 passengers on this bus, though, who's driving? I'm just gonna ask that.
Well, I'm gonna be the driver of the. I have my license. Don't worry.
All right,
we're all good
in for the ride.
And we are also joined by royalty this week. We have from jolly old England, I believe. I don't know. I don't have the documentation to prove that, but I believe he is the one and only Sir Chester Collins.
Hold on. London, Ontario, not London, England.
Oh, that's the mistake there.
Well, I was born in London, England. Since residing, I winter in London, Ontario, and I have for the last 26 years.
It's commonly referred to as the London of the North. So, Sir Chester, we really appreciate you being here with us, Your Lordship.
Sir Chester Collins, what a get!
Absolutely, thank you. It's great to be making my debut here on the Canadian Bulldog. I still do have some appearance at the Indies, so I still have one foot in the ring. But it's nice to have another one in the podcast game now.
That's where you got to be, Chessie. That's where you got to be.
Yeah, we see you at the gimmick table all the time, hawking those 8x10s and all that stuff.
SirChesterCollins.com to get more information on some merchandise.
You heard it here, folks. So, Stu, it's been a little while since we've recorded, although it aired fairly recently. Any feedback you received on our last edition of the podcast?
I mean, people just loving it. I mean, the deep dives that we take, people like to go swimming with us. You know, they like to go and learn and relive and discuss and laugh about these great memories and magazines and merchandise and all the stuff that we cover. The Saturday night's main event and the LJN episodes. You would be hard pressed to find a more conclusive deep dive than those 2 episodes of your show, Bulldog. So this week I think it's going to be great. It's fitting with Jack of all trades being such a baseball card movie for me, and I know you had a topic that was going to be really great for me and our guest today, who I know were big collectors, Chester Collins, and I know the Big Bowski. He's a big collector of cards as well. Am I right there?
Absolutely, and also make a cameo in that aforementioned film, Jack of all trades. Now on Netflix. It's true. I didn't know you were in it.
And what about you, Chester? You collected cards back in the day, or?
I did. When I first came to North America, I actually was in Toronto for part of the late 80s and early 90s, so I was definitely in the collector's game. You know, unfortunately, there wasn't a Sir Chester Collins collector's cards during my heyday, but I was definitely familiar with the product and look forward to talking. I definitely, I have a couple garages overseas that hold most of my collectibles. So
that's very insightful. And Stu, let's talk a little bit about Jack of all trades, because it is absolutely, unless you've been living under a blanket, it's been crushing it on Netflix right now. So tell us a little bit about your documentary.
Oh man, it is crushing it. It's going to be on Netflix for a few more months, and it is about revisiting the good old days when baseball cards and hockey cards and football cards and cards in general were everything. Kids didn't play with phones back then. They played with cards. And I know Chester was a big Royals fan, ironically, being that he's
very apropos.
I know. What else? I mean,
big George Brett. Fit. You were a big George Brett guy, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was big, George Brett was great. Also, I was really into Frank White. Won a couple Gold Gloves. Solid hand out there.
And what about
could he turn a DP?
Yeah, well, yeah. Speaking of DP, about Rybowski, you have a favorite card collector. What do you collect, or what did you collect?
A favorite card collector or collection?
No, what did you collect?
Either.
Like, what was your favorite?
I pretty much collected everything. So baseball was my forte, but basketball, hockey cards, football cards, garbage pail kids, Alf cards, Pogs, stickers, and of course wrestling cards.
Wrestling cards. That brings us to you, Mr. Bulldog, in today's topic.
Yeah, I was actually going to just do a bit of a deep dive or a segue into Rybowski's other MTV Raps trading cards, but we'll park that for now. So we are going to talk about wrestling trading cards, and although the listeners at home may not be able to actually see these in person, we will show images of this on the YouTube version of this. This is now, by the way, the podcast is on YouTube, it's on Spotify, it's on iTunes, anywhere you want to listen to your podcast, it's there. And we're gonna look at several different classic vintage collections of wrestling trading cards and get the opinions of the room here. And I think the best place to start is right from the very beginning. I'm just gonna grab my Den for Men binder, which holds these beauties. This is the wrong. All right, we're off to a great start here.
Yeah, that's your taxes. For that latest.
All right, I'm not going to start at the beginning actually because I can't find that binder at the moment. But this is my miscellaneous binder. So I'm going to show these are some very rare 1 and 2 offs. So the first thing we've got here are this series of Coliseum home video stickers or stamps. You've got Hulk Hogan. Got Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon. Did you folks collect these as well?
I don't remember ever seeing those. Chester?
So these came with, I assume, like VHS cassettes back in the day, or?
I use these to mail packages, to be honest.
Nice. No, I can't say I've seen any of those. Got the Nasty Boys, Brian Knobs and Jerry Sags. A couple of rough customers for sure. No, I've not seen those.
I have no recollection of those at all. I'm sure I collected them, but I have no recollection. How come they have multiples of the same person on one sheet? I assume you get it all as a sheet, or?
It was one sheet. It says Coliseum Video WWF Superstars Collectors Stamps. Collect them all.
And can you actually use that as postage?
I hope so, or else a lot of my checks are going to be very, very late this month. So moving along here, we've got another rarity here, the Swanson's Frozen Dinner Cards.
Jeez.
And this is also
Swanson's
the same
Frozen
vintage.
Dinner Cards.
Yeah.
Delicious.
You can see here. Sorry, go ahead.
I remember those definitely. I threw a lot of Salisbury steak in order to collect that set.
So my understanding is there are only 4 of these in existence, or 4 different cards in existence, rather. So we've got the Bushwhackers, the Legion of Doom, Big Boss Man, and the Rockers, Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty.
It seems like they were going with like a tag team motif, and then Akeem was not available for the photo shoot, so Boss Man just got a solo job, or?
This is a very random collection.
Yes, Chester?
I gotta say, I like the design of those cards. Those look very slick for something that came in a TV dinner packaging. I'm impressed.
I believe they were individually wrapped.
Okay.
So that you wouldn't get they weren't attached to the back of the
like the cobbler.
Like you wouldn't get rhubarb on it.
Was I the only one that would eat the cobbler first?
Nope. Fuck no.
I would open up the card and then cobbler. And
Wait,
then,
I'm going to look up the
rest.
value here for us, folks, because we like to know about value and to know what Bulldog's hoarding over there at
So you've
Bulldog
got
Manor.
the wrestling cards, Beckett, there?
I do. Stand by.
All right.
So while we're standing by for the value of it, I actually can see online that there were a lot more than those 4. Texas Tornado had a Swanson card. Macho Man Randy Savage, Hulk Hogan, the Mountie was immortalized in the TV dinner card.
I got news for you, man.
Hart.
Those cards are worth something, man.
How much they go for?
Graded, like the Rockers card, there's a Macho Man one that's $139. The Rockers is $111. Whole ungraded, it's a whole different ballgame. But if you got those graded, maybe you got something there.
So you're basically saying I can build my retirement fund off these babies.
Maybe.
All right. So we're gonna go from frozen dinners to potato chips next.
Sorry. I just want to go back. I know you were a little bit of a picky eater, Bulldog, growing up. Perhaps like some of the cards that you couldn't get. Maybe what I'm trying to get at is the 4 cards that you were getting were just because that's all you would eat. So if you ventured into like a chicken fricassee or beef stroganoff or something like that, maybe you would end up with the $138 Macho Man card.
Oh, that was probably it. So we're now going on to the world of Hostess potato chips, and these were not only rarities, but very, very popular back in the day. This is around 1986, 1987. I believe, 1987 would have been the first year because it was a promotion tied to WrestleMania 3. So I'm just going to show, these are not cards per se, but they're stickers.
Is that Piper? You got Roddy Piper, and he looks to be at an outdoor stadium. I'm just curious, was that at the big event? Can you tell? Do we know?
Hot Rod was not at the big event, so probably. Okay. I believe this is like a flea market somewhere.
I actually have memories of that photo album with those stickers in them from that's like untouched from your childhood. Like the way that is that your childhood album right there?
It is, yes. This is like a 19.
Like I remember going through that very album and looking at the stickers. Hostess stickers, of course, came with the bag of chips, as you said. They were the best. I think that was probably one of the most genius marketing plays that WWF did at the time, because as kids, we were cracking open those potato chips looking for those fucking stickers.
So I have a very vivid memory of those stickers. First of all, I still have my collection in probably the exact same binder that you have, Bulldog. So I remember that set. Like Stu had said,
wasn't your dad? Crazy. Didn't your dad run this promotion?
He did. He had some. He didn't run the promotion, but he got some kickbacks from the promotion going through his retail outlets. But what I remember about that is trying to collect the set. It was very hard. You get like 40 Sikas and like 35 Tito Santanas. Coco Beware was a common one. And it was so hard to get some of those cards. And I remember one time calling Hostess customer service and saying that I had purchased a bag of chips and there was no sticker inside. I cannot remember for the life of me if that was made up or if that was real. But I remember calling and they had sent an envelope.
It was made up. Sorry, go ahead.
Was it made up?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the only script in the book.
If I had to guess.
I was going to say, did you guys collect other sticker collections? Because I remember there was also a collection of heavy metal bands. I remember I had like Poison and like Dokken and Rat. And there was also one, I believe it was by the time we were in high school. Sir Chester Collins went to high school in Canada, fun fact. Of NBA players.
Yes,
specifically, I remember I had a ton of Detlef Schrempf stickers.
I think like with the success of this WWF promotion, Hostess for the duration of being Hostess ran these types of promotions with other sports. But wait, what? You got the secret piece? Is that what you're saying, Big Bowski?
Oh, sorry. So they sent an envelope, and there was about 20 random stickers in there, and a lot of them. And it was like, Christmas. Well, I guess. As much as we can experience Christmas. But they sent it. It was amazing. So we figured out this was the scam, and we would, I think, did it a few more times and ended up getting the whole set that way.
And another story along those lines. So as you mentioned, Stu, our father, Canadian Bulldog Senior, did help with the promotions for that. So he did get to meet the Honky Tonk Man. He met Jimmy Hart.
The British Bulldogs.
And one of the British Bulldogs, Davey Boy Smith, no relation. And essentially, we got a sneak peek at the television commercial, which featured, for some reason, Mean Gene Okerlund and the Strike Force were part of that promotion. Okay. We also got an audio cassette, which ran on a local radio station. So
yeah, I feel like that commercial might be on YouTube. I feel like I've seen it surface with Strike Force. Am I wrong?
No idea.
We'll check the tape after.
Yes. Well,
Fun fact. The following year, Hostess did. This is actually kind of funny. Those are those rock stickers. Hostess was talking. Hostess was doing baseball. The following year, after wrestling, they did baseball, and because of how many people called in and said they didn't get sent pieces, Hostess did not want to deal with any customer service as it related to after the stickers are in the bags. They wanted nothing more to do with it. My father got the rights for the stickers to be to handle it for Hostess. So at our house, we had every base. We had like he ended up trading. I don't know. He somehow I don't know what he did, but I'm just saying that the baseball stickers I had the whole set times a billion. Like if someone needed a specific sticker, they would write a letter, and like Sluggers would be the one that would send out the sticker to them.
That's
really
amazing.
Yeah.
So Rybowski is showing the YouTube video. Sir Chester, you're correct. And here's the other thing. Did you guys know that there was a second series of Hostess potato chip WWF stickers?
I don't remember.
Yes, definitely.
I did not have the entire collection, but I do have. I'll show you some of the highlights here. This was a bit tougher to find, but we've got the Natural Butch Reed.
Yeah, those are incredible.
Jimmy Hart.
I loved them.
Yeah, I definitely had those too. I remember the Butch Reed one. Well, I still have it somewhere.
And Jimmy Hart actually took his sticker and put it on his megaphone at one point. That's what kind of a Hostess mark he was. We've got Strike Force here. Your guy, Mr. Fuji.
The devious one.
Got the Rougeau brothers. Anyway, so it goes on and on, but there were definitely two different series of Hostess chips for those.
You know what they should have done for the promotion? Have Fuji come out, talk to Mean Gene, and try to throw salt in Mean Gene's eyes, but instead it goes on to the chips.
And then someone else put some vinegar, and then they have like salt and vinegar.
Yeah, like the model Rick Martel with the
arrogance,
instead of the cologne, the atomizer.
Yeah.
Fuji ceremonial salt and vinegar.
There you go, ceremonial salt and vinegar.
All right. So moving along, the next series here, and I'm not sure how well you guys can see this, but this is Coliseum home video, and these are trading cards for an upcoming video game. I think it was Raw is War for the Sega Genesis, early 1990s, and I only had the 4: Doink the Clown, Yokozuna, and Shawn Michaels, and for some reason Luna Vachon.
So these are more like postcard size collectibles.
These are trading card size.
Isn't Luna in the Hall of Fame? No?
She may be.
What was Luna Vachon? Like, what was her gimmick?
She was like crazy.
She was just one mean bitch.
Like, she was sort of S&M, sort of gothic, sort of like mystical. I never quite understood what they were getting at with that character.
She was just like a bad mama.
Yeah. Okay.
So those were all of those series of cards we've discussed were, I think, very well loved and revered. We're going to go on to one that probably not quite as much these days. This is called Super Wrestling Stars or Wrestling Stars.
Is that sealed pack?
It is not a sealed pack. It's a very dog-eared package, which I use to store the different cards. So I'm just going to really briefly explain these first, and then I'll show some of the cards in case you guys have any comments. But these are basically a little bit bigger than a postage stamp. They're made out of very flimsy cardboard, and essentially every card in the series is an error card.
Also, these cards are worth like hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, depending on the wrestler. There's like a Ric Flair rookie card. It's like I'm not even joking. Like, there's valuable cards in this set, in this collection.
And they're a big agnostic of territory, from what I recall, right?
Yes, they're just basically like cards made from like George Napolitano's book, or however you say his name.
Yeah, and some of these were actually just like somebody took a picture of other pictures inside of a wrestling magazine and turned them into a trading card. This is Steve, no relation to William Regal. We've got Ricky Steamboat in front of his trophy case for some reason. This is, I almost dropped one there.
And actually, but just before we go on, Bulldog, what was that language on the front of the cards?
Broken English.
Arabic?
Arabic, I believe.
Yeah, like an Arabic.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yes.
These were my favorite cards. These are still my favorite cards.
Yeah, they're
I
always
remember always
the
just,
junior dog.
Yeah.
We're going to get to Junior for sure. This is so it shows the Road Warriors, and it's actually Road Warrior Animal and Paul Ellering.
Close enough. And what's on the back of these cards?
Nothing.
A piece of cardboard, basically. These are flimsy as fuck. We've got Jose LeDuc with his wearing the crimson mask.
Okay.
This is kind of funny. Coming up next, we've got Fritz von Erich with one of his snot-nosed kids, and they don't mention who the kid is. Then you've got Kevin von Erich, and then you've got Kerry von Erich. However, if you put them all together, it's essentially the same photo. They just chopped it.
Efficient. That's good. I like that.
These cards are worth money. I'm telling you. Gary V is like going on a tangent about the junkyard dog card that it's like worth like thousands of dollars.
And the Hulk Hogan and Muhammad Ali card is my absolute favorite.
Sergeant Slaughter.
It looks like probably the worst possible time for him to take a photo. He's got he's bleeding all over the place. I'm sure his goal was not to be.
Like he literally just had his nose busted.
And he looks like he's in mid-sneeze as well.
Hold on, so I'm getting to. There's a good one coming up here. All right, so we've got number 22 is Hulk Hogan, and
it has like an inlay from the magazine.
Half of an inlay.
You can see the text is on the right hand side.
If you guys are listening to this, you should just watch the version on YouTube because hopefully Bulldog will put up these photos of these amazing cards because Kerry Von Erich it's literally someone took a photo of a magazine and made cards.
So wait, is this like Pro Wrestling Illustrated or something? Like just sort of...
They were not affiliated with it.
No, of course. But where do you think this? What do you think the source of these with the text overlays?
Wrestling
those
All-Stars.
were after magazines for sure.
I don't think so. I go the other way. It's like Wrestling Eye and like Wrestling All-Stars.
No, these were after magazines.
Really?
Yeah, I used to have one. So I'm just gonna go. So here, this is one of my favorite ones actually. It says Crusher Khrushchev and Ivan Koloff, but it's only Crusher Khrushchev.
Yes.
Like they started on their own net there.
And that's Repo Man, right? Am I wrong?
It is.
Also known as Smash.
Repo Man rookie card.
Smash.
Wow.
It's worth a pretty penny.
This one it says Kevin Von Erich, Eric Flair, and he's like hugging. He could be like hugging a mop for all we know. You don't actually see Ric Flair or Eric Flair for that matter in there. It's just Kevin Von and Eric like.
Again, folks, this is more of a visual thing, so hopefully you're watching this on YouTube.
And if you're not, we can describe it as Kevin Von Erich hugging like the back half of a golden retriever,
like a Shetland pony or something.
Yeah. Okay, I'm getting these all out of order. And the other thing, just as an insider tip for you folks who are listening to this, if you go to bit.ly/cardcorner, that's where we have all of our articles about previous trading card sets, and that will be growing in the weeks and months to come on Canadian Bulldogs World. The next card is Hulk Hogan with Joan Rivers, but Joan Rivers is uncredited. I'm not sure why that made the cut. Then you've got Hulk Hogan and Cyndi Lauper, but they do name Cyndi in the next card.
And it's like half of both of them.
It's probably from Saturday Night Live or something. And then, Hulk Hogan and Muhammad Ali.
Hulk Hogan and Muhammad Ali. I guess
Liberace.
They can't name Liberace because Liberace wouldn't get over in that country. Look at that. Hulk Hogan and Muhammad Ali. And it's a picture of Hulk Hogan strangling Sylvester Stallone from Rocky III. And it says on the card Hulk Hogan and Muhammad Ali, and it's literally not even Hogan's face, his arms.
Like a sliver of his
It's like
profile.
someone paused Rocky and took a picture of the screen. Tully Blanchard getting color the old way. You know, listen, red equals green, brother.
Yeah. So I won't go into all of these. This could be the entire podcast, just cracking open this series. But the two, I think Stu mentioned the Jim Cornette. Instead of Jim Cornette, it was basically Jim Cornette's arm. holding a tennis racket, like you didn't see his face. And then there was one called the Juneyard Dog, which instead of the Junkyard Dog, it was an obvious typo there.
And Ric Flair was spelled R-I-C-K and R-I-C throughout the set as well.
And Eric Flair.
Here's a question. To the best of your recollection, where did you buy these? Were these things you could pick up at a Hasty Market or a Becker's, or did you have to go to more of a collectibles store such as Sluggers or a place like that?
Where did you get them, Bulldog?
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was waiting for you there. Max Milk is where I purchased them, just down the street.
So widely available. Good distro.
I'm not sure. Is this supposed to be a promotion for Sluggers? Or?
No. I was just curious because I remember some of the WWF cards were, from what I recall, were not that easy to find.
I am thinking that you're not right about where you got those cards. I'm pretty sure that myself and the Big Rybowski got them at a flea market in Florida. But that's just, maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah. No, I definitely remember, and maybe you're right about that, I'm not sure, but I definitely remember this package at the front of Max Milk for sure.
I can collaborate both of those stories. I believe we did get them in a flea market, but that was after we'd already discovered them.
Oh, so it was like a
However,
second
we
finding.
did buy a lot more and were able to get more of the set. I believe that's how it worked.
So it's like a second finding.
Correct. And I also, and I could be wrong about this, but maybe Bulldog can get some insight. I feel like these cards are kind of what spawned Inside the Ropes.
In a way, yeah, because of all the typos and mistakes and things like that.
More than in a way.
I mean, we thought this was the funniest
You were
thing,
making fake versions.
We started making our own cards.
Yeah, you were making versions of these cards back in the day. This is the original Inside the Ropes.
Not only that, but I also have somewhere in Bulldog's basement a collection of like bootleg ones that we made up on like Microsoft Print Shop or something like that. So yes, what you're listening to today can all be credited to this poorly made series of trading cards. So moving along, we've done WWF, and we're going to WCW now, and this is a series. It was by Impel Trading Cards, and this was in the early 1990s. So I'm just going to show some of these.
I do not really remember this set at all.
Now, this was a series we did find in Florida, Rybowski. I don't know if you remember that.
I absolutely am very excited to find them in Florida.
So these
nice.
They're just for those people who don't know, it's they have like black backgrounds, very glossy, and
they remind me almost of like a newer version of a Swanson trading card.
I think Chester Collins has his eyes on that Missy Hyatt rookie card.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, he's a formative talent back in the day. I see a little Elegante there. He's the very hard to miss man of that stature.
And you know what he wants? Chester.
What's that?
The belt.
He wants the belt.
I want the belt.
So who else do we have here? I think we see a little Michael P.S. Hayes, maybe? Am I wrong?
You are not wrong.
The Z-Man?
The Z-Man. I know Sid Vicious had a card where he was on a Hannibal Lecter type card. Or Frankenstein.
These are not bad looking.
It's a nice set.
Given the era. A lot of Elegante in this set.
They were trying to give him a big push. Is PM News in there, or is that before his time?
Yeah,
there's no PM News in this set per se, but we will get some PM News there.
Lex Luger with a double bicep there, looking good.
Brad Armstrong.
Flexi Lexi.
Who's that with the hat on?
Right there?
No, like on the other one, like at the top in the middle.
For those, you'll have to watch this on YouTube.
What the fuck am I? Oh, it's sideways. Okay, it's like Sting getting I thought it was someone wearing a hat.
No, he's not wearing a hat. That's his mullet.
Okay.
Yeah, so these were a really good series of cards. The only thing that was really interesting is that at the exact same time, another company put out a series of WCW cards.
These ones I know.
I feel like you could still get a package of these today for like $1.
Oh, I think I actually tagged you. So like there's like a collectibles place in Toronto that just got in those other WCW cards, maybe the first ones you showed us. And like it was like $1,000 for the box.
No, that was much older. That was much rarer. That was like NWA cards.
Okay, my bad.
these you could find in a garage sale or whatever. These are very cheap. These are called the Stomp Collection.
And I do think that store that you had found has wrestling star cards.
So
Yes.
you've got pages and pages of Sting cards here. Is this all from the same set? Why the fuck are there so many?
He's hoarding
Sting
Sting. He was hoarding Sting rookie cards.
I know he's one of the all-time greats, but like, what's going on here? Why are there so many?
It's a good observation, Sir Chester. Essentially, all they did in this collection was just like have the same stars over and over and over again. So even we go to Lex Luger, there's like a bunch of Luger cards here.
Okay.
And apologies, I'm probably not holding this up very well.
Oh, these are impeccably ordered too. You're very organized with these.
Well, when you've got a collection that's worth potentially millions.
Of course.
Yeah, and I mean there were, I don't know if I can look through it, but there were a lot of errors in this set as well, just in terms of the information they provided there. I remember Z-Man's like motto was "Stay single, ladies."
And might I add, don't call me Peanut Head.
I believe there is a Teddy Long card. We'll get to that. Arn Anderson. This is before Evad Sullivan. Got lots of Arn Anderson for you Arn Anderson marks out there.
Any
Can you
CW?
imagine getting an all Arn Anderson pack?
Any
How
CW
pissed off
Anderson?
you'd be.
He's the enforcer. A lot of Dutch Mantel.
Dirty Dutch.
Probably more Dutch Mantel than anybody would ever want.
Interesting that like Dutch, because I don't even remember Dutch getting like a huge. Was he high up on the card in WCW back then?
He was not. He was a jobber, but he got like 14 cards.
Who would be the most obscure wrestler in this set, by your estimation?
Well, right on the next page, I would say Wildfire Tommy Rich having several cards. Is probably an odd
More
choice.
so than Dutch Mantel? I would say Dutch Mantel over Tommy Rich.
They both.
He's a good hand, though.
Dutch Mantel definitely, like he was a character. He looked like the part of an interesting wrestler. Ricky Morton, lots of fabulous Freebirds cards here.
Okay.
You know what? Dutch Mantel has a great mind for the business.
He went on to be Zeb Coulter.
Hold on,
Southern Boys.
Did those cards just change from yellow to red? Is that what happened?
They did. So tag teams got the red treatment.
Okay, I'll say Southern Boys. That's the most obscure so far. Who were the Southern Boys again?
Steve
Tracy
Armstrong.
Smothers?
Yeah, Steve Armstrong and Tracy Smothers.
Okay, and Steve Armstrong was like Brad Armstrong and all those guys. They're all brothers.
Yeah.
Cheese.
They were related for sure. And the other thing too that's worth pointing out in this collection, this is vintage 90s colors. Like this is like right out of an episode of Saved by the Bell, just with the decoration in the back, or the sort of the green and yellow and
Unbelievable.
like
Very, very 90s couture.
yeah.
Are the backs, so if there's 9 Sting cards, are the backs all identical or are they different?
Let's see here. They are different. They have different facts and figures on tag teams such as Doom.
There's a Jim Ross rookie card.
So there's 9 different stats and figures on Tommy Rich.
I don't know if he had 9 cards, but yes, that would be the idea. Got Jim Ross, Missy Hyatt.
Of course, Chester preferred it when Tommy Rich joined the York Foundation and became Thomas Rich.
Thomas Rich, that's right, and Terrence Taylor.
And Richard Morton.
Well, I remember the manager had a very early laptop computer and she'd be like typing stuff at ringside to like the formula of how to win the match.
Yeah, you're talking about Marlena.
And
yes.
it was a word processor as well. It wasn't actually a computer that she was using.
Whoa. Sorry about that, folks. Continue.
Also doubled as a weapon, no doubt. I feel like it came into play at times.
Michael Wall Street.
She was Bill James of wrestling before his time.
So Jim Ross's favorite hold is the microphone, in case you're wondering. Some vintage JR. So we're going to move on to another WCW series. This is a little bit more obscure. This is from WCW Magazine. Some of the cards, which says like Missy Hyatt in the bikini.
Look at that.
This may be a Stone Cold Steve Austin rookie card, Stunning Steve.
Well, these I do not remember seeing. So, again, I suggest you watch this particular podcast on YouTube so that you can see the visuals here, because this is a very visual podcast. But I've not seen this set of cards before.
I'm going to ask the same question. Where did you buy these?
This was inside WCW Magazine. These were inserts.
Oh, I see. And what about the previous WCW sets?
Those you could buy packs at, like, Sluggers or wherever.
Really? Because okay.
Yeah, like this one, the neon yellow and green. This was everywhere. You could still find these. I found some places. Very
From
cheaply.
what I recall is WCW at that time was not shown on Canadian television.
Yeah, it was.
unless
It
I'm
was on.
wrong.
It was on CTV on like Saturday nights at like 2 a.m. It was.
The perfect time for viewing.
Prime
Yeah,
time.
Worldwide was on CTV in Canada on CFTO, and on if you had TBS, the Superstation, you watched 6:05 Saturday Sunday.
You did, yeah. And then, so my next.
That's true.
The next series I've got is a few years later. I only have one page of these, so I don't know where I obtained these, to be honest. But this is like 1995 era where Hulk Hogan had joined the company. You've got Rybowski's favorite, Marcus Alexander Bagwell, profiled Paul Orndorff, got Brutus Beefcake, and it just says Sleeper.
I was going to say, who's Sleeper?
That's his short-lived nickname.
And they have different logos on them. So that one says main event. There's one that says WCW Wrestling.
Don't
These are
call me
interesting.
Paula.
I want to see
Adam Bomb?
no. Where are you? Oh, yes. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's the next page. Yes.
Oh, okay. A little switcheroo. I like it.
Yeah, so these cards that I was just describing, they're by a company called Cards, like with a Z. And
Original.
This was made in 1995.
I'm not
So
familiar with those.
Yeah. My last series of WCW, these are stickers as well. These are by a company called Crazy Planet. And this is towards the end of WCW's run. So you see Bret Hart there, Goldberg, Scott Steiner, Das Wunderkind, people like that.
Where'd you get those?
Fantastic.
Yeah, I don't know
Where
what
did you
else
get
got.
those?
Scott Steiner or Rick Steiner.
This would have been an eBay purchase a few years ago.
How much are
Very
those?
Saturn.
How much do those
Not-
cost?
It would have been less than $10. This is probably not the entire collection. We've got
Good value.
autographs of Goldberg, Bret Hart, DDP. Some
Did
other
you get those?
Bischoff.
Did you wait outside the hotel to get those?
Yes, I wherever WCW folks went.
You got them to sign their own glamour shots?
Yes.
Is that the idea?
No, I believe those were already pre-autographed for sure. All right, I've already done that collection, so just bear with me for a second here. So
Well, we all know what's coming now.
what is
WWF
that?
cards?
Yes, you've seen this podcast before. All right, so
Again, a very visual episode this week. So I encourage you, if you've made it this far into the program with just audio, what are you waiting for? Head on over to YouTube and check out and see what we're seeing.
you know how long this is going to take me to put together to make it visual.
And we're all in quarantine. We got time.
You got
I got nothing but time. This is true.
They may
All
come
right.
out with another WCW set before this is all done, though.
So this particular set is it's not the first wrestling card series ever, but certainly the first that we probably collected as young stupid marks around 1985. And this is the first Topps WWF collection.
Those are 1985, the first set came out?
They are, yes.
Wow.
So it's the early days of Hulkamania. He's holding the old WWF title. Got Superfly Snuka. Captain Lee was quite popular in the series back then. Got the Hammer. Got Wendy Richter in a bathing suit. Got Rowdy Piper with his
I was going to say that Wendy Rector card, I do recall that one specifically. Very provocative photo. Seemed very out of character for her. Because she wasn't, she was a world-class athlete first and foremost, and that seemed a bit, I don't know, I was a bit surprised even at the time when I saw that.
These are still great cards.
Yeah, these are good. These are, well done. Good photos.
Yeah, very 80s and very cartoony, but they stand the test of time.
I mean,
for
you
sure.
know why those are good? Because they're made by Topps. Topps is in the business. It's not a one-off set. It's not Swanson trying to do some promotional gimmick. This is Topps. They do cards. That's what they do. So they didn't drop the ball here. They nailed it.
They absolutely did. Although I will point out, so if you guys can see, there's a Hulk Hogan card here in this sort of green background. So if you go to the very first card in the series, it is the exact same fucking picture.
Guess what?
Just with a different background.
Guess what? That's how they do parallels now in baseball cards. They do one of ones. This one has a green background, a red background, a blue background. They're called parallels.
But I don't think that was the case back then. I could be wrong. I've seen that since. But so just going through some of these, you've got Greg Valentine, Ivan Putski, George the Animal Steel.
Lego my
put
arm.
captions on them, right?
Lego my head. Now that's what I call a sledgehammer.
Who is Greg Valentine is giving someone some kind of backbreaker, and it seems like he's grabbing a handful of crotch there.
That would be Superfly Snuka, and yes, it probably is.
And just the Big John Stunt card there on the bottom say "Big Fat Chicken."
Close. It says "No fair choking."
My memory doesn't serve me correctly,
but he was probably thinking that.
I'll tell you one thing about this set that I never really understood. If you look at the backs of some of the cards, there's a drawing of a wrestler, kind of his hands up to his head, almost saying like "na na 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 boo boo." There, and he's almost like provoking. Like what? I never understood what he's trying to convey with that little drawing.
And we were convinced back in the day that was supposed to be Roddy Piper, although it's clearly not.
Okay, or is that like a guy about to like lock up? Is that what that's supposed to be, or we'll never know?
And we will never know. It was probably just the stereotypical wrestling heel, just giving a bit of a boo boo face. So you've got, just as we continue on here, Moondog Spot and Chief J Strongbow and a bunch of other luminaries. But the interesting part of the series to me was when they started getting a little cheeky with their, they have these like comic book style captions. So you have here, I believe this is Ivan Putski and Jesse Ventura in an arm wrestling contest where Ventura says, "This ain't my idea of holding hands." And then Putski says, "It's giving me blisters," which I'm pretty sure is not what they were saying at the time.
Might be.
It might. Well, we'll never know, I guess.
Paraphrasing. Yeah. There's the infamous one of Hulk Hogan punching his fist through a stereo.
Yes. And it says "wrong kind of music." So I guess
these are seem sort of loosely influenced by Mad Magazine. It sort of seems like the type of thing you might see in Mad Magazine.
I was going to say Cracked.
Yeah. Either or.
We've got here Mean Gene Okerlund saying to Hulk Hogan, "Who's your next challenger?" And Hulk Hogan is saying, Anybody good enough to meet me, man." Which, again, I don't think is a verbatim.
And that's not even funny. That's like a fair commentary. I mean, he's, one of the all-time greats.
Here you've got, remember, Stu, on an earlier podcast, we were talking about George the Animal Steel as a heel?
Yes.
So you've got proof here, and he's saying, "Arg," and then Mr. Fuji is translating, saying, "I think he say he hungry," which is kind of, does not hold up well. And then we've got the stickers, which these are absolutely legendary.
Yeah, those are the best. Look at those stickers. I can't.
Look at that Captain Lou.
They're really awesome.
Rybowski, would you like to describe this Captain Lou?
He is shirtless, holding a bag of potato chips, and maybe on the phone, or is he holding a beverage? I can't quite tell.
I think it's pre-cell phone, so...
It looks like basically lard all over his upper chest.
Yeah, not a good look. Beef, and then you got Brutus Beefcake crouching. Sort of looks like he's like camping and he's like relieving himself.
He's got a rose in his mouth as well.
Squatting. Very limber. Parts unknown. Was Beefcake from Parts Unknown when he first showed up? I feel like he was.
San Francisco.
Was he? Okay.
He may have been billed as
Captain Lou in a tuxedo.
Another Captain Lou sticker.
Captain Lou in a tux.
Yeah. Okay, that JYD sticker is on another card. I recognize that face.
That was the first, the bug-eyed junkyard dog.
Oh, wait a minute. Look what we're seeing on the back there.
A puzzle.
Looks like a puzzle.
Yes.
It's a puzzle of
dive
Hogan.
Into that.
It's Hogan about to throw a punch on Dr. D, David Schultz.
Nice.
How do you have that? How do you know it's Dr. D?
It's just a guess.
Oh, okay.
You can see John Stossel lurking in the background.
So we go from that series to the next series of Topps cards. This would be 1986, and it's in the same style.
Wait, there's a series 2?
This was
Oh, right,
86.
right. The yellow box. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Is that really Tony Atlas?
it is.
It looks very lean. Very lean.
It was his pre-Saba Simba days, I believe.
Okay.
Got the British Bulldogs there. Neidhart, Ricky Steamboat, not looking at all like himself. He's jacked as shit.
Yeah.
Got Leilani Kai, Bobby Heenan, King Kong Bundy. These were all basically people who were not in this first series, which is really interesting. The one thing I'd note in that first series that we already went over, there was no
O-Pee-Chee?
Andre the Giant card.
Is that O-Pee-Chee?
These are... They are O-Pee-Chee.
Good eye.
So Stu, what is the difference between O-Pee-Chee and Topps?
Well, the ones you're holding are worth thousands of dollars because those are O-Pee-Chee cards, and those were printed and distributed in Canada. Topps does not do... basically, Topps in the States is O-Pee-Chee in Canada, and the sets tended to be smaller. Like the 87 Topps baseball set is one of the biggest sets at the time, 700 and some odd cards, whereas the 87 O-Pee-Chee baseball set is only 200 and some odd cards. So I'm not sure what the difference is in the set size, but I did see that the light back Topps printed on more of like a dull, darker background, and O-Pee-Chee had like the light Topps Tiffany type background. Maybe Rybowski can vouch for any of that.
Hey, Sean, there's a card there. It's got Junkyard Dog. He's got a hold of some guy's foot, and it just says Twister. Who's his adversary there? Who is that?
Jobber for sure.
Is it just a jobber?
I'll go back and see. Sorry, he says, what does he say?
I think it was on the previous page.
Twister.
Flip back. Twister.
This looks to be the Duke of Dorchester, I believe.
Oh, Pete Doherty.
Pete Doherty.
Yes.
Was that his name, Pete Doherty, or that's the guy in the Libertines?
No,
Was
Pete
that
Doherty.
his name?
Pete Doherty.
It was Pete Doherty and the Duke of Dorchester were one and the same.
Wow, okay.
Good memory.
Brad
Yes.
Doherty.
Yes.
You're thinking of Chris Daughtry.
What? Got another one of these caption cards. This was Hulk Hogan sitting on his car in the winter, and it says, "It's time for a little road work, brother."
And it's a Corvette, because Hogan only drives American cars.
Oh, good eye. Good catch.
Absolutely. Got Jake the Snake. You got Uncle Elmer here.
Hey, Uncle Elmer. We've said it on this program many times. Household name in 1986. Uncle Elmer.
Rybowski, this card here at the Killer Bees, I think there might be some history to that. Do you not remember that?
With the Killer Bees card, no recollection.
There's a
Refresh
card.
my memory.
Stu, do you remember this one?
No, please. Did we pose for that photo or something?
Do we recreate it?
I was going to say like a Halloween
Speedos.
costume.
There's a card somewhere that has like both of your heads on this picture, the Killer Bees card.
Right.
I don't know what the context was, but that's whenever I see that card, that's what it reminds me of.
Was I B. Brian at least, or was I Jim Brunzell?
No, B. Ryan Blair.
There you go. Here's a rare card, Hoss Funk.
I mean B. Brian Blair. B. Brian Blair. My bad.
How long was Haas Funk around for? I feel like it was
like 2 weeks.
very, very brief. Yeah.
Well, the Funks never really got along with the McMahons.
Got Macho Man and Elizabeth. That's the first one there.
They brought in Dory Funk. They brought in Dory Funk Jr. and they made him call himself
Jim
Haas
Jack.
Funk.
So we've got some more caption cards here, and I'm trying to read them on an angle here. Mr. Fuji is sitting down with Vince McMahon and Lord Alfred Hayes.
Oh God, this is going to be a racist, isn't it?
I was going to say.
He says, "I make sukiyaki out of everyone who opposed me," and then Lord Alfred quips, "Tea and crumpets could do for me." So
Because he's British, so that makes it funny.
it does.
Okay.
Got Hulk Hogan.
You get that, Sir Chester Collins.
Who's in the hospital?
I don't know who it is. I believe this is from Fuji General, the television series. So Don Morocco says, "This guy looks really sick," and then Mr. Fuji goes, "That's because he just learned we're going to operate on him." So pretty racist.
Yeah.
Just trying to see if there's any other good ones here and there or not. Again, you got a puzzle here with Hulk Hogan's leg. So I believe this is actually his match with King Kong Bundy at WrestleMania. So I can see the steel cage there.
We've got something that looks like it's in like the Snake Pit talk show or like
This one here?
Yeah, what's going on there?
It appears to be Paul Orndorff, Ace Orton, and Rowdy Piper around a cauldron with
So
Vince
it's like a Halloween type thing.
These are all stills from TNT or Saturday Night's Main Event.
Skip.
Yes.
Yeah, and Mr. Wonderful saying, I don't know if that's good for my diet. Now you've got an episode of Piper's Pit where you don't see Piper, but you just see Ace Orton and Big John Studd and Bobby Heenan. And Big John Studd says, if anybody calls you a weasel again, I'll flatten them. And then the last caption card here on this page, you've got Hulk Hogan playing guitar. This like very glittery background. He says, it's rock and wrestling forever. Like, I don't even get how these are funny.
They're kind of just statements of fact.
Yeah. All right. So, any other thoughts on the OPG collection before we move on?
I like those cards a lot. I feel like they could be repurposed and made into like cool hipster type of t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies with some of those stickers or stuff on it. I would definitely wear the Captain Lou Albano eating a bag of chips if that was put on like a hoodie with a good thread count.
Now I know what to get for your birthday.
And overall, just the memories of opening those packs and eating the gum and collecting those cards. I found like the next set, the next set they brought out in '87, which I believe was called WrestleMania. Topps put out one more offering. The gum in that tasted much better than the gum in the other offerings. It was just like a fresher gum.
That's insight you're not going to get anywhere else.
No.
All right. Okay, so for our next series here, are you guys feeling in a classic kind of mood?
Yeah, this was my favorite set when it came out.
Always.
All right. So this is not the classic set that most of you have. I do have that somewhere kicking around. This is, I believe, 1991. This is like the follow-on set. With the cards were all in blue.
Oh, I stand corrected.
Do you recognize these ones at all?
Yes, I do remember
like
those. Not what I thought it was going to be, but I do remember those.
I had those.
Yeah, the first classic series was actually, classic. It was iconic because you had like these stickers and like character logos and like you had like Barry Horowitz and Jack Tunney rookie cards and things like that. This was the follow-on, so it's still pretty good.
So it's kind of a portrait of Hulk Hogan there. Is that like a Diamond King type thing, or is it a photo? Oh, no, it's an actual photo.
That was the cover of like the Hulk Hogan poster magazine. Maybe.
I think you're right. Wow. So you got some big stars from the day: Power and Glory, The Rockers, Bobby Heenan, Sensational Queen Sherry, The Barbarian in full antler regalia, Virgil. It's maybe Virgil's rookie card. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I think he was in the other classic set.
Was he?
I think so. Maybe with DiBiase.
Maybe. Got the Mountie. We were talking about him earlier.
I wouldn't mind finding like a Nikolai card that has like when it has like a scent logo on his trunks, like when Ted DiBiase owned him.
So the other thing too, I should have mentioned before, the retro style, like the Topps OPG style, they actually have those cards now in newer form, like Topps Heritage cards.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. So I have a few of those collections.
These are Topps cards, or this is another?
This is classic. I don't know much about the firm. Maybe Stu, do you know this company?
Yes, a classic. Originally, they couldn't get the license to do baseball cards in the packs, like with like Topps and O-Pee-Chee and Don Ross and Fleer and all those other companies. So they made a board game called Classic, and they ended up skirting the rules. And they did baseball, but nobody ever played the game. They just collected the cards. And then
I played the game.
For wrestling purposes, they didn't need to. At this stage, Topps was no longer making wrestling cards, so Classic obviously jumped on the license, and they were able to do and distribute and manufacture without any rules because it was the WWF and they had the license. But back in the day, Classic made baseball cards. That's how they got on the map, and they were famously had Ken Griffey Jr. stuff and a Bo Jackson in an Auburn uniform. Those are the two notable Classic cards that I can think of, but maybe Rybowski can think of some others.
That was when I was thinking of the Bo Jackson, which I still have in his Auburn uniform holding a baseball bat.
Yeah.
This may be unrelated, but did that come with the CD where they had the baseball rap song? Or is that something totally different?
Unrelated. This was a board game. It was like a simulation.
It was a board
rotisserie
game that
board
you rolled the dice, and that means like a single, a double. You kept stats, but then there was like a travel version of the game. It was just basically just like a blister pack of cards.
And Classic wasn't the one that you'd get one card plus a pin. I feel like that was Score, maybe. Or was that Classic?
No, that's Score. That's a different product.
That was Score. Okay.
So you see a very rare General Adnan card there.
Oh, wow.
They don't make those too often.
As an Adnan rookie card.
See, Power
Earthquake, Power and Glory.
A lot of legends have passed away on the pages of this particular binder.
This really is depressing. Yeah. Ultimate Warrior, Mr. Perfect, Randy Savage,
Tugboat,
Bossman.
Keep an eye on him.
I would not want to be Haku these days. All right, and okay, so we're gonna go on to one last series here. So this goes back a few years. This is around WrestleMania 3. I think, Stu, you were mentioning these before. I think these are Tops.
Those are the ones with the good gum.
Yes, Tops. I'm just double checking here.
This is the best set of any wrestling card. So this right here is the underrated and underappreciated because at this stage, this wasn't as widely made as the other wrestling sets. So this was when Topps sort of like threw in the towel on the wrestling license and just sort of dumped these cards out into the marketplace without much of a push.
Is that a Frankie card?
The design is the best. The cards are the best. The roster of stars is amazing. This is secretly the best wrestling set of all the sets.
So this is basically WrestleMania 3 time period.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's like super patriotic. So you've got the stars and stripes in the background, blue border. And yes, as Rybowski just pointed out, that is a Frankie rookie card there. I never got that one autographed.
You got a Canadian, you got a guy from France, you got a guy from Mexico. It's great.
It's the United Nations.
I think Frankie's from Costa Rica.
Yeah, Australian there. I see Outback Jack.
Butch Reed, I mentioned him earlier. Bundy.
Kamala's from Uganda.
The King Harley Race.
That's Harley Race's first WWF card.
Got the British Bulldogs, Ricky Steamboat. Then you've got, I'm just going to turn this sideways here to see the Outback Jack card here, which is taking him back to his native Humpty Doo, Australia.
That is
He's got his face painted and everything.
Was he actually Australian? Do we know?
I believe he was.
And he was basically to capitalize on the popularity of Crocodile Dundee.
I know those words, but I'm not sure what they mean together.
Well played.
Okay, so this is the card I wanted to show you guys. It's just like Hercules Hernandez putting some jabroni in a backbreaker, right? If you look really, really close, that's Mick Foley. It's the Mick Foley rookie card.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it sure is. Jack Foley.
He probably doesn't even know it.
Well, why don't you tweet him and show him the photo?
I've done that many times. He's not paying attention. We just did that on Card Corner a few weeks ago, actually. Ken Patera.
Jailbird.
I believe the caption is the Olympian returns.
From the Slammer.
You've got King Kong Bundy floating in the air after missing a charge to Corporal Kirshner. It's actually levitating.
What happened to the Stars and Stripes? They're not on these cards anymore.
It's not as American. I think that was just like for the initial, where they had the individual wrestler, and these ones are more action shots.
So Frankie gets a American flag card, but
Frankie was super over, man.
All right, got some WrestleMania 3 action going on here. Steamboat versus Savage.
Sorry, guys. Quick aside. You know what I used to like? I feel like this would be in the programs you would buy at WWF live events. Like the first page would just be like superstars.
The back of the program.
Yeah, there'd be like 20 superstars, and once in a while you get an animal in there. You get like Matilda or Frankie, or even Damien might have popped up. I think mine showed up, like the stuffed animal.
He was a superstar in his own right.
Sure.
So we got some more caption cards here in this series. With Jim Neidhart laughing, "Nice guys finish last." And then you've got, I'm not sure, I think this is Outback Jack pulling the head of a steer.
Yeah, like a zebu or something.
Looks pretty awful. Here's how we keep in the shape in the outback, mate.
Sure, PETA would have a few thoughts about that depiction right there.
It was the 80s.
Yeah.
Kimchi is not even saying he's thinking in a thought bubble. No, Kamala, that's not dinner.
Okay.
Lots of laughs here.
It turned out to be actually Swanson's. Turned out to be the actual dinner for Kamala that night.
It all comes back to Swanson's. You got Mr. Fuji talking to Killer Khan, and the Mr. Fuji ones are the best. Good. That face scare opponent silly. Oh, racist Mr. Fuji. And then you got the sticker cards. So you got Billy Jack Haynes,
Again,
Hercules.
I would wear a hoodie with most of these on it.
Yeah. Agreed.
Outback Jack sticker.
So it seemed like Outback Jack was ready for a big push if this card set's any indication.
He had the action figure. He had the cards.
Yeah.
The hostess sticker.
The hostess sticker.
Yeah, like
the theme song.
All the pieces.
The theme song.
Yeah. Here's Stu for reference. Here's the package that came in.
That's not the
Cartoon
WrestleMania
picture
pack. Is it? Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's it. Look at that. Yeah,
Who's
those
a
are
really small guy beside Neidhart?
Smash of Demolition.
Oh, Little Smash. Okay.
I think
Is
it's
that Danny Davis up there too?
There's a Danny Davis sticker.
Dangerous Danny Davis.
Yeah, Andre the Giant, Ken Patera. These are all the same as the cards we saw before, just on a different background. Some autographs here. Something to do with trading. I could not tell you who these are. Rybowski, would you happen to know?
Tiger Jeet Singh.
Wow.
Tiger Ali Singh.
Tiger Chun-Li.
Maybe Tiger Ali Singh.
There's somebody with the first name Tiger.
It's Tiger Ali Singh.
And this looks like Sergeant Slaughter, but there's no way you got to
You gotta put it up a little higher.
Oh, sorry. Is
Yeah,
that Sergeant Slaughter?
yeah.
I don't
when
know
did
if
you
that's it.
Did you meet Tiger Ali Singh and Sergeant Slaughter in the same day?
I don't think it was Sergeant Slaughter.
So what is that's autographed there? It looks like a photocopied piece of paper.
It's this WWF Attitude that has it's not photocopied, but it's just like a it's an in your house event, and it's like the background there.
Okay.
It does look like Sergeant Slaughter, but I don't think that's what it is. Tully Blanchard, maybe?
Why would Tully Blanchard be in the same place as Tiger Ali Singh? That's even
Brainbusters. I don't know.
it's like Sergeant something. It looks like it's a Sergeant Blonde, but
General Adney.
Sergeant Greg Pittman.
Yeah, I was going to say Sergeant Craig.
Steve Blackman. I think it says Steve Blackman.
Oh yeah,
maybe
yeah. It is Steve Blackman.
Steve Blackman and
Yeah.
Tiger Ali Singh. That could be.
Yeah,
This is another one of yours, I believe. Razor Ramon.
That's
Oh,
easier
yeah,
to read.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I got that at Bad Boy Furniture.
I was with you.
You had a story there for that, I believe.
Yeah, we took a picture with the bad guy.
We took a picture. We got to hold the belt. We waited in a furniture store.
Yeah. I saw
much
the
the story.
photo of me with the belt somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
just
Chester,
rounding
you were
up
there
this-
with us? Chester, did you go with us to that VHS place where we got to take a Polaroid with a couple of wrestlers?
Yeah. With Bodied on his. Hillbilly Jim was there, and the Bodied on. Skip
No,
and
I missed
Sonny.
that one. Mouth is South.
The South autograph, and then
So
And these-
Bulldog, where are these these random 8x10 glossies you have signed? Where did these all come from?
so I think a lot of these came from my dad. He did the aforementioned Hostess potato chips
Right,
signing.
he was in the business, the food business, snack business.
He was in the wrestler 8x10 business.
He was.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure these are all because these look.
His dad was in the. His dad was in the snack business.
Snack biz.
He ran a lot of rockets. Sorry, I'm just trying to close the binder here.
He hired the British Bulldogs for muscle.
So we've covered a lot of territory here, a lot of different cards. Guys, do you have any?
Where was the classic set? Like the good classic set with all the logos and... Not that we need to go through that, but that was like the
I have
set.
it. Yeah, it was.
Wasn't there also an upper deck set?
No.
I'm not aware of that.
So I have a question. I feel like Stu might be best equipped to answer this. So with all these wrestling cards, is it like other card sets where individual cards are worth a lot? Like is the Hogan card worth more than, say, the Jim Neidhart card? How does that work with the pricing?
Well, I mean, listen, it depends on the appetite. If there's like a huge appetite for the set and say that Neidhart card is like a short print and like there's so many diehard collectors that want to fill this set, then the Neidhart's going to have lots of value to it. You'd like to think, though, that the Hogan is the one that you're going to want to get out of that set, that first set, the Hogan rookie card. They are, believe it or not, they do consider these rookie cards. There really is a Luke Skywalker rookie card and a Dr. Spock rookie card, Mork and Mindy rookie cards. There really is that type of stuff when you have fandom around anything. So, listen, wrestling fans are collectors of everything wrestling, as the Bulldog can definitely attest to. And he's got a great collection there. One of the better collections I've ever seen of cards. And, they're valuable because you love wrestling. If you're planning on sending your kids through college, if you're putting your kids through college, you're probably not going to be able to get it with a Berserker rookie card.
I was going to say a part two of that. So you've got, a competitor and a legend like Dory Funk Jr. comes to the WWF as Haas. Is that considered his rookie card?
Well, I would imagine that some of these classic cards, like the yellow bordered cards that we saw, would be the rookie card for most of these wrestlers because that's the first known set for those to them appear on, and that's why that's such a valuable set. But for example, the Harley Race WWF card would probably be good.
There actually was a set in the 70s that had like Harley Race and Terry Funk and all Dusty Rhodes and all these guys too. No idea who made it, but I've seen that before.
Interesting.
Yeah. Sorry. Any closing thoughts here? Anything else we want to talk about wrestling cards here?
Yeah, I would say that as the cards advanced, I guess, or progressed, you could kind of see a progression of the business as you look through the different years of those cards. The very early days of wrestling cards featured blood and guts and misspellings and mislabelings, but a lot of just like photos of guys bleeding all over the place and that type of stuff. And then as you get into the Topps releases, more for the kids, less about the blood, more about the characters and the personality. And then by the 90s, it's all characters. There's plumbers and there's hot dog vendors. Everybody's a gimmick. So you can kind of see that all reflected in how the business evolves through these different sets of cards. I don't know about what any of you guys got out of it, but that's one of the things I got out of it. But obviously the main memory is collecting them all. I definitely participated in collecting most of those. I believe we left out some really key things, like I know Rybowski mentioned the classic cards with the logos. I would be hard-pressed not to mention that there were other wrestling card sets, like the ice cream bars came with cards. There was some other one, these yellow cards you used to get at Circle K store that you scratch off.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a bunch of other
cards. The Panini sticker books that you buy at the convenience store. You have to collect the set.
But there was a wrestling one?
Rock and Wrestling, yep.
Oh, yeah.
The
Hulk Hogan's Rock and Wrestling also had like you could read secret messages.
That's right. It's a red like cellophane that you'd hold.
Yeah, that was a great sticker book. Yeah, now you're talking.
That's what I want for my
birthday. I can echo what Stu's saying. Very nostalgic to look back at it, and it is very interesting. You can see the progression of the business through the cards and through the different sets, which is an interesting way to look at it.
I think Stu's right too. You can tell the difference, just the continuity of the top set. Not just the quality of the layout and the photography, but also the blend of the straight up wrestler cards and then some action shots and then some silly stuff.
Stickers.
It just, it was a good package. I remember it was always nice to get a mix of all those things.
Yeah, and I'd also add that, the current cards from the last 10 years or so are really sort of top notch now. We're doing some impressions of Sid Justice, I believe, and you can definitely find relics and pieces of the ring canvas and autographs, and it's just a very different game now these days. And the other thing, I just want to really just a quick cheap plug. If you go to bit.ly/Card Corner. You can see a lot more of our collection here on Canadian Bulldogs World. And I think they're telling us to cut the time here. Stu, how can we find you on Twitter?
At Stu Stone.
All right. And on that note, I think we are done.
Well, what about these guys? Rybowski, he doesn't even have a Twitter?
You're giving me like the sign.
No, I'm not. That's just
imitating Arn Anderson.
I was just doing like wrestling impressions. I
can't tell. It's like a pandemic.
Oh,
and
I wasn't giving you the hook. I was just doing.
All right, well, fuck you then. Let's start. Sir Jester Collins, where can people find you on social media?
You can find me on Facebook and Instagram, Sir Chester Collins, all one word.
Amazing. Thank you for joining us this time. We really appreciate it. And Rybowski?
If you look hard enough, you'll find me.
All right. And Stu, we've already got your Twitter handle and all that stuff.
Yes.
And do see me on the Netflix hit documentary Jack of All Trades.
That's true.
Nice. Okay. Sounds good. And
thanks to Cable Guy Jeff, of course, for putting this together and playing that music.
I was just about to say thank you for Cable Guy Jeff. And this has been the Wrestling Merchandise and Memories Podcast.
Us.